As a young girl, I always imagined my grown-up Christmases to be like the ones at Grandma's house. Rooms overflowing with people, food abundant on the table, gifts under the tree, and the warmth of love. I never imagined that my Christmases now would be quiet ones, where the traditions I cherish the most are often enjoyed by myself. But in the stillness of a quiet little Christmas, the true gifts of the season can be revealed, gifts that are not found under a tree. I will confess, though, that the no-gift decision that my tiny family made this year began to make me a little sad as Christmas drew closer. Christmas just won't be Christmas without presents, so said Jo March in the Louisa May Alcott classic Little Women. So I took out my carved cookie molds, all replicas of centuries-old designs. There's a star from a mold from the 1600s, and these from a Philadelphia baker who baked sweets for Washington's army during the Revolutionary War. But my prize mold is this antique from the 1800s that my Swiss grandmother made many a Christmas cookie in the farmhouse that my father grew up in the Alps. There would now be cookies made with love this Christmastide. Christmas isn't about preparing the house for a big crowd. Christmas is about preparing the house for one. The guest that matters the most, Jesus. And we, my friends, are the caretakers of the traditions that make this time of year special, no matter if the traditions are just for you alone to enjoy. Christmas just won't be Christmas without the gifts of love, joy, hope, and peace. As I got to work around the farm, I realized that I could give the gift of extra food for the animals. It's an old Swiss custom to bless the animals on Christmas Eve. And so I put out this corn for the deer, and I made sure to give the chickens an extra serving of cracked corn for them. But the custom goes that you must not stay in the barn, for it would be bad luck to hear the animals talk, as it is believed they do on this special night. Christmas won't be Christmas without presents. The presence of chestnuts roasting over an open fire. Oh, they brought back so many memories. I used to eat them all the time when I lived in Manhattan. You would buy chestnuts from a street vendor. I am many memories away from those days of living in Manhattan. And as I now go up Sofie's Hill to prepare our time for Christmas worship together, my friends, I think about the real presence of the season. You see, Christmas just wouldn't be Christmas without those presents. Without the presence of the angel songs filling the skies on the night that Jesus was born. Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without the presence of the shepherds' awe, as they were the first ones to receive the good news of salvation. Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without the presence of Mary and Joseph's trusting hearts, showing us what it means to say yes to God's plans in our lives. Christmas just wouldn't be Christmas without presents. And the presents that truly bless others are the ones that come to hearts that are still, hearts that are opened, and hearts that have room for the Christ child to be born in once again.
No, Fritz.
Here we are, my friends. We are in the season of Christmastide, and I can't think of a better place for us to be than here at Old Stonewall Farm as we welcome the gift once again of Emmanuel, God with us, a promise that we will never ever be alone. And I will never get tired of saying that message, that even when we feel at our lowest points in life, even when we feel we have no friends, even if we might be spending this holiday with an empty chair at the table, or perhaps even alone without any visitors, I will never get tired of telling you that that is not true, that you have someone that cares about you so much. You have God. And because God so loved the world, he gave us his son, Jesus. And I am so thankful that you are here with me once again. It was about 2 years ago that after many years of doing this channel that all of a sudden people found me, and I still am in awe as to what happened that Christmas when I just saw the views go up and up and up. But after that, they have subsided. Of course, it goes up and down, and I just realized that life is always up and down. Life isn't always a steady climb of success. Life is the high moments and the low moments. And that is why we set our eyes on the things above, that we don't pay too much attention to the material things here on earth, because that's not where our treasure is. Louisa May Alcott was so correct when she said, "It just won't be Christmas without presents." Songs of the angels, the awe of the shepherds, the trust of Mary and Joseph. Those are the gifts of Christmas that really matter. As I was going about making the cookies and putting out the extra food for the animals on this holy night, as is a Swiss tradition, and as I was setting up Sofie's hill for our moment of lighting the candle and singing Silent Night, which has become a tradition, so stay tuned for the end of this video. We will be doing that. Well, when I was going about all of that, I was humming another Christmas carol that I don't often sing a lot, but for some reason it was on my lips and in my heart. Good Christian men rejoice, with hearts and soul and voice. And then there's several verses, and one verse says, "Now you need not fear the grave, for Jesus Christ was born to save." That Christmas carol came to us by a German Franciscan in the 14th century. Heinrich Sosu, I believe, was his name. The legend goes that Heinrich got the lyrics to this song during worship at the monastery, and he heard the angels give him these words, and he was so excited about that gift of the angels giving him these words, "Now you need not fear the grave, Jesus Christ was born to save," that it is said he began dancing. Now, I guess that was shocking for the rest of the monks. Perhaps this was a time of reverence and no dancing, but perhaps chanting and quiet prayer. But there was Heinrich all of a sudden dancing during worship because he was so filled with joy by this message of Christmas. Now you need not fear the grave. Now there is eternal bliss. Jesus Christ was born for this. And as I was going about all the activities that I was doing, I kept thinking about that incredible gift of joy that he received, so much so that he just had to dance. And I wish that for all of you. I know this time of year can be hard for many of us, especially as we get older. Things change. The Christmases of the past are no longer, and we have to accept a new reality. And that has been weighing on my heart a lot, that this new reality for me means that my circle is getting smaller and smaller. But that doesn't stop us from dancing with joy. It doesn't stop us from receiving the gift of the angel. So that is one of my prayers for you, my friends, that you receive such joy this Christmas that you find yourself dancing in places that you would never have danced before. So good old Heinrich, I love it that he was just dancing away, and the rest of the monks probably just looked at him in like shock and awe. Maybe they danced with him. I hope that they did. So I kept thinking about that gift that the monk got. And as I was making the cookies, when I made the baby Jesus and I was molding it, I kept thinking we were molded to be Christ here in this world. And that means that we are to give the gift of Christ to others. And how do we give that gift? By loving others, by being a friend to others. The more I thought about the gifts that are all around, the gifts of giving extra food to the animals, the gifts of these cookies, the gifts of the song that the angels gave to that monk. Oh, there was the gift also of St. Francis. He gave us the gift of the nativity scene. It was in 1223 that Francis wanted to share the gift of God with others as to what he was doing through the birth of Jesus, that he decided to put together a living nativity. And that was the very first one in the 13th century. So Francis gave us the gift of the manger scenes that we have. Christmas won't be Christmas without presents. And the presents that truly matter are the presents that God is always blessing us with. The presence of divine love, the presence of understanding, the presence of never feeling alone when you are truly alone. Because in those moments of great quiet and solitude, if you are really still, you can sense that God is with you. And if you don't sense that God is with you, then just reach out your hand and say, God, I need to know that you are here with me. Keep on praying that. And the gift of God's presence will come. It will come. Because that is the promise of Scripture. That is the promise of God's Word, the living Word, Jesus. So the more I thought about all of these gifts, I realized that the monk's gift of the song, Good Christian Men Rejoice, St. Francis's gift of the manger scenes, the nativity, all these gifts were given to us out of someone's great admiration for God, out of the great love that someone had for God, the great reverence and the great awe, that they had to do something. They had to give the world something to celebrate God's greatness. And so the true gifts of Christmas are the ones that are given to the world, to others, out of the great love we have for God. Imagine that. What would you give the world to show the world your thanks for a great and loving God? What would you do? How would you live? Christmas won't be Christmas without the presents. But I believe the presents that we are being asked to give this year are presents to a weary world that so desperately needs to rejoice once again. You know, I started to decorate a little bit more than I was going to. As the days approached to Christmas, I decided to put up some more evergreen, and I got some apples to make it look very colonial in here. And I moved the dried oranges into the kitchen. When my husband came home and saw it, he was like, why did you do all this? He has a point. I'm not entertaining anyone. No one's coming into our home for the holidays. My husband, he's not a Grinch, but he's not a big Christmas person. So he wouldn't care if we had a tree up or a wreath on the door. But when he said that, why did you do all this? We're not having anyone over. We have a very quiet Christmas. And I thought about that. And I realized I'm doing it because I do have a guest coming, a very important guest that I want to welcome in the way that I can. And that is Jesus, the Christ child. So even though I spend most of my time alone here in the house, as my husband's working a lot and I work from home, so it's just me and the cat and the dog and the chickens. But I realized that shouldn't stop me from decorating, from welcoming the Christ child in a way that fills my heart with joy. And so what can you give the world this year? Even if, and this is important, even if no one physically sees your gift or receives your gift. A gift of a simple thank you to God can do amazing things. The gift of being happy and content, no matter what your circumstances are, that is a blessed gift, where it shows God your trust. The gifts of Christmas are ones that can never be found in the store. And they are ones that can indeed make our hearts glad. There was a story I heard many years ago about a group of Peace Corps workers who went into another country and they wanted to spread some cheer to some children at an orphanage. And it was around Christmas time. So they decided to make some nativity scenes with the children. They got out the felt and they had the clothespins to make little figurines, and they had shredded paper that would be the straw. And so they made the little manger and they put the paper in, and then they made Mary and Joseph, and then they had to make the baby Jesus. And one child had 2 babies in the manger. So, of course, the volunteer wanted to know what was going on. And so she gently asked, she's like, this is very, very great, but why are there 2 babies in the manger? There was only 1 baby born that night. And the little boy just looked and he said, well, I listened to the story that you told us before we made the manger scene. They were telling the story of Christmas. And you said that a child was born for all people. And yes, the angels sang, the shepherds were there. But you see, I want to make sure that that baby is never alone. So I made another baby to be with him. And that baby is me. I know what it's like to be alone. And that's when the little boy just began to cry. And there, before this volunteer, was the manger scene with not only Jesus, but the little boy. The little boy never, ever wanted to be alone. He knew what that felt like. And so he wanted to make sure that Jesus didn't feel that. What a gift that in his own situation, he was still thinking of how Jesus felt. When the volunteer just wiped the little boy's tears away and said, you don't have to be in that manger with Jesus, because Jesus is always with you. No matter where you go, he is always by your side. So don't worry about him leaving. Don't ever worry about your tomorrows. And most of all, don't ever worry that you will never have a friend. Because of this night, you have the best friend ever. It doesn't matter how young we are or how old we get, that message of Christ born for us, it never ever grows tired. In fact, dare I say, as we get older, the story becomes more important, because as we get older, life doesn't get easier. Life brings new challenges, new goodbyes, new changes, and through it all, we never journey alone. Christ was born for us. It is time now for our silent night, holy night. So, time to get on the old boots. Yeah. And trudge up that hill in the snow. I want to get there a little bit early. The sun is just about to set. So we'll have some time before it gets really dark.
and I'm going to bundle up because it has been frigid here in Vermont. So I hope that where you are right now, that you are nice and warm. But for me, it's time to really get dressed for the elements. Okay, all I need are my gloves and a cookie for the road and a candle. Now, if you have a candle by your side, now's the time to light it. If not, let my candle be your candle for tonight. So are we all set? Come. Time for an Old Stonewall Farm tradition of going up on Sofie's Hill and welcoming the season of Christmastide together. And as it has become a beloved tradition here at Old Stonewall Farm, if you don't have a candle lit right now, then I share my light of Christ with you on this holy night and always. Merry Christmas, my friends.